Welcome to the Empressa Era podcast, a realm where intuition flows through real life and your personal power is celebrated. I'm your host, Queen Empressa, and together we'll explore tarot, self-mastery, sensuality, and aligned growth. Now take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Empressa Era podcast. I'm your host, Queen Empressa, and this is a space where we talk about power, intuition, self-trust, and the magic you were born with, but probably were taught to doubt. And if you're new here, take a breath and exhale. And if you've been here, welcome back home. Now, let me be very clear from the jump. When I say magic, I don't mean you need to be a witch or a reader or a practitioner or doing full moon rituals every single week. I mean that magic is intuition. Magic is discernment. It's knowing when something feels off and trusting that instead of talking yourself out of it. And today, we're talking about the magic within, because way too many powerful people are walking around burnt out, second-guessing themselves, and leaking energy everywhere like cracked Tupperware. And we're not doing that anymore. I don't know about you, but I'm personally tired of exerting unnecessary energy. And by unnecessary, I mean wasting energy on tasks, places, even people that do not align with me. Now, don't get me wrong. I am grateful for every single thing, every single person that has gotten me this far. There are so many lessons in life that help us understand what it is that we truly need. And like podcasts and TV shows, we go through episodes and seasons of ourselves too, right? Learning what it is we want and more importantly, what we need. So I'm even grateful for the negative situations I've been involved in because they've taught me just how powerful I am. And that's what the goal is here. The goal is to take back our power and realize there's so much to this life, so much more than you can even imagine, than just the mundane routine that we've all become accustomed to. This lifetime is full of wonder if you just know where to look. And if you don't, you've got me. Now, when I say the magic within, I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about the part of you that already knows when something is right or wrong, or safe, or unsafe, or aligned or completely off. Some of you, most of you, if you're here, have been intuitive your whole life, and you were told you were maybe too much, or dramatic, or over expressive. Some of you were the emotional barometer for your family. Everyone used to come to you with their issues, including your parents, which we could get into in another whole nother podcast. But if you're sticking with me, you understand some of you have also learned how to read rooms early because you had to for survival. It wasn't a skill that you acquired over time. It was something you needed to do in order to stay afloat. And that right there is magic. And if you're not careful, it can also be what burns you the fuck out. So today we're going to talk about how to honor your magic instead of letting it drain you. Okay. Before I get too ahead of myself, in this episode, I want to discuss 3 things that will change how you move through life if you let them. So number 1, which I've already touched on already, is how to not burn out while still being ambitious as hell. Number 2, how to use discernment instead of overthinking. And 3, how to protect your magic, because not everyone deserves access to you. Now let's start with burnout because, this one gets glamorized way too much. And what I mean by burnout, I don't mean the cute, I need a nap kind of burnout. I mean the deep exhaustion where even things you love start to feel super heavy. Like somewhere along the line, we were taught that exhaustion means you're doing something right, that burnout, doesn't happen to other people because they're lazy, or, if you're not tired or stressed or overwhelmed, you must not want it bad enough. And I'm here to say that that's bullshit. Burnout isn't proof of purpose. It's proof that you've been giving and giving without replenishing yourself, okay? It's because you're over giving. And if you are intuitive, empathic, spiritually aware, or even just emotionally intelligent, people will naturally pull from you because that's just who you are as a person. And people can feel that and they can sense that. They want to vent to you, they want to ask your opinion, they lean on you very heavily. And if you don't have boundaries, you start to become a free emotional service provider. And when we think of magic, right, we think of cups overflowing. We think of an abundance of or an excess of, right? So, why would working to the point of exhaustion actually work when it comes to magic? Magic doesn't come from depletion, it comes from alignment. And it should feel effortless and freeing. It should feel just like breathing. Burnout is what happens when your output exceeds your replenishment. So, if you're constantly feeling drained or resentful, that's not a grind issue. You're not on the grind. That's a literal energy leak. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go and quit everything, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you need to pace yourself like someone who plans to be here for a long time. So we're doing the opposite of what Drake says. We are here for a long time and a good time, okay? So I want you to just sit there and ask yourself honestly, am I resting before I'm exhausted or only after you crash? Do you feel guilty when you slow down? Or do you feel like you have to earn rest? Because magic does not flow, like I said, when you're resentful or you're depleted or even when you're feeling numb, you don't feel anything. Magic does not flow in that type of energy. I'm not saying that you need to quit everything that you're doing because for most people, that's an impossible task. You really just have to pace yourself. So, here's something that nobody really talks about, okay? You don't lose your magic when you rest, you lose it when you ignore yourself. Your magic thrives when you rest without guilt. Okay. And yes, rest counts as productivity. Okay. I could say it again for the people in the back if you didn't hear me. Rest counts as productivity. Rest is not quitting. Rest is maintenance. We need maintenance in order to thrive. Think of it as like an amusement park where the rides are down for maybe an hour or two during the day for maintenance, right? That is necessary for that ride to work to ensure that no one gets hurt while riding that ride. That is essential. Okay. And it's the same with us. It's the same with us. Your intuition becomes quieter when you're exhausted. How can you listen to something within you when you're so busy listening to all of the external forces? Your discernment starts to get blurry, right? You start saying yes to shit you should have said no 2 weeks ago. Burnout makes you sloppy with your energy. Okay? And we don't do sloppy here. So I want you to ask yourself this week, where am I forcing the energy? Where do I feel forced? Okay? Where am I saying yes just to be liked? I'm going to let that sink in for a moment. And where am I pouring into people or projects that do not pour back? All right, so let's talk discernment now, because this is where a lot of people confuse intuition with impulse. And intuition without discernment can get you into some messy situations. So, discernment is not about just the vibes, feeling the vibes, it is about that, but it's about pattern recognition as well. It's about awareness. And a lot of people sometimes say that discernment goes hand in hand with paranoia, and I disagree. Your body knows way before your brain even catches up. When you walk into a room and you feel something is off with the energy, you get that like tight feeling in your chest, or you get like a sense of hesitation that you don't even want to walk into the room. That's information, okay? Your intuition will always whisper to you. It is never super loud. It will always whisper. And your discernment watches. And discernment is knowing when something feels good versus when it just feels familiar. Okay. So it's noticing how people show up for you. It's how you feel after interactions with certain people, like family or friends or people that you don't know. When you start to realize a pattern with people, you start to follow suit. And when people or places, tasks, jobs, whatever it is that you feel do not align with you, that's when you need to start removing yourself from the situations. Now, like I said before, we go through seasons and episodes of life. So it could just be a season where maybe you're not feeling the energy is correct, right? So you take a moment, you take some time off, and then you revisit. I don't personally see anything wrong with that. Obviously, if there are signs of abuse or things of that nature where your safety is being compromised, absolutely do not. But what I'm saying is watch how you feel after you have interactions with people. Watch how people make you feel in general. And if someone is constantly draining you, but they occasionally give you crumbs of validation, that's not connection. That's called conditioning. And that's a whole nother podcast episode that we're going to get into later down the line about how empaths attract narcissists. Okay. That's really one of the big things. But I digress. Here's the hard truth: just because someone has access to you does not mean they deserve it. Okay. Not every opportunity is going to be aligned with you. Not every compliment is genuine. And not every invitation is meant for you. And what I mean by that is people may compliment and invite you and include you in things. However, they may have some attachments of themselves of negative connotations when it comes to you. They may not even realize how much negative energy they have aimed towards you, because it may not even be aimed towards you personally, but towards your accomplishments or towards your lifestyle. There may be jealousy or envy involved. And in that case, you don't need to explain your boundaries. You don't need a dramatic reason. You don't need a dramatic exit. You don't need an Irish exit, okay? Just feeling this doesn't feel right for me is enough. So discernment truly asks, is this something that's nourishing for me, or is it just familiar? It's about choosing peace over potential chaos. And that choice will save you time, energy, and a whole lot of emotional labor. Trust me. If something is truly aligned, it will never require you to abandon yourself to get it. So this year, in 2026, I'm telling you right now, we are going to stop romanticizing potential and start honoring reality. You are allowed to walk away from things that look good on paper, but feel wrong in your body. Okay? When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And if it does not align with you, it's okay to walk away. All right, now we're on to the last segment here that I wanted to talk about that I'm super excited about. This is part 3 about protecting your magic. Okay? Protecting your magic is self-respect. Let me get into it. This is where the real glow up happens, okay? Your magic is so sacred. And I say your magic, it doesn't matter, like I said in the beginning, if you consider yourself a practitioner, if you're looking at everything from the outside in, if you consider yourself a baby witch, I don't care personally which call yourself yet, because right now you are you. But everyone has magical gifts. Everyone has magic within them, and your magic is sacred. And sacred things are protected, not overexposed. Okay, you think about art within an art gallery. All of that artwork is protected from people, from the weather, from all sorts of things. They are protected, okay? You think about pictures as well, photos, how they used to develop photos. They did not overexpose those photos, okay? They made sure they were protected through every process of developing that photo. So, protection, again, it's the same thing as discernment. It doesn't mean paranoia, it means intention. Your magic is not for everyone. And that, for me, that's not arrogance. That is wisdom right there. Not everyone needs to know what your next move is or has access to your plans. has access to your fears or even your healing process. You don't have to share everything with everyone. You don't have to tell everyone your plans. And you don't need to process every emotion publicly. You also don't have to justify any of your boundaries because they're yours. Hello. If they're yours, that's good enough reason. So oversharing is not really vulnerability. Sometimes it's honestly self-abandonment. And silence in those moments is going to be your protection. So when you're in a situation where your discernment kicks in and you do not feel comfortable, this is exactly where that silence will come in to protect you. Just for example, I've had this happen to me a few times in life where I have started to talk to someone that I had considered a friend or a coworker or someone that I had just seen in passing, right? Someone I just met. And they ask me how I'm doing. How are you doing? What are you working on? How's life? And I've started to tell them full transparency. Oh, things are going like X, Y, and Z. And as soon as I start to tell them, either my ears start ringing, my throat gets so dry, I have to cough or I have to look away for a moment, or it feels like I've got a frog in my throat, or something happens in the room that changes the direction of the attention. And when I tell you that is spirit listening and saying, no, keep your mouth shut. When you are trying to be very clear with someone and you're constantly getting derailed from that, that means to stop talking. I'm telling you this in the nicest way because it's important to be selective. So protecting your magic really looks like asking yourself, like, who gets access to my vulnerability? And who do I feel safe being honest around? That's the biggest question. Who supports my growth and is not just benefiting from it? We need some real ones in the circle. And also, protecting your magic will also kind of look like logging off when your nervous system says enough, right? So, what I mean by that is when you feel yourself getting overwhelmed by doom scrolling, and I'm calling you out because I know we all do it, myself included, when you start to feel your hands cramp up or you start to feel your head hurt, that's because your nervous system is telling you you're doing enough. You're doing too much right now. You are taking in other people's energy through the screens. You're starting to doubt yourself and feel negative emotions about yourself, and that's not it. That's not it for protecting your magic. And also, the biggest thing that I could preach to you is keeping some things just for you until they're fully formed. If you're an entrepreneurial baddie or a college baddie or someone who's looking to build a career in anything, honestly, keeping those plans to yourself may be the best thing you could ever do. And I'm going to be real here. I even mean keeping it to yourself so much that you maybe write it in a journal, but you don't tell anybody else around you. And yes, I am including partners, spouses, anyone that you consider a close friend. Keeping that information to yourself until it comes to fruition is so important. Like I said before, people don't always know the emotions that they carry along with them when they're listening to you. So even though their first instinct would be to congratulate you or say that they're happy for you, there may be a piece behind there where they have envy or jealousy. And that's not the type of energy that we want bouncing back on us. And spiritual protection doesn't have to be complicated, right? It can be as simple as asking yourself every morning, what do I need today to stay grounded? Because your energy is currency. Your magic grows when you treat it like something worth protecting. And remember, if something requires you to shrink, dim, or betray yourself, it is not aligned, period. So before we close, I want you to remember this, okay? I want to leave you with this. You don't need to prove your worth by suffering. We talked about that in terms of burnout. You're not too sensitive. You don't need to be available to be valuable. You are not dramatic or asking for too much. And you don't need to be everything to everyone. You are an intuitive, you are powerful, and your magic is meant to support you. Your magic is meant to support your life, not consume it. So this week, I want you to choose one way to protect your energy, just one way to rest without feeling guilty. One moment where you can trust yourself instead of questioning yourself. And if this episode resonated, Let it sit with you. Revisit it if you need to. Journal on it. And if you're ready to deepen this work, I've created spaces, services, and community for that exact reason. All the ways to connect with me are in the show notes. So until next time, protect your energy, trust your knowing, and wear your crown like you mean it. Talk to you soon. Bye, lovelies.